how many of you guys got a Guild Wars 2 art? Woo! Did you guys get it signed? Cool. So,
which mic is that?
This is. Should I point it?
Maybe. That should be fine.
Hello, is this giving me any feedback? No? Okay, I'll just stand here. Welcome to the Art of Guild Wars 2 Q&A session. And if you were in line, in that huge line for the art book giveaway, thank you for being so patient. So today, I'm going to have each of the artists introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about what they do at ArenaNet, and then I'll ask them a few questions, and we can take questions from the audience. So why don't we start with Daniel?
Hello, my name is Daniel Dociu. I'm the studio art director for ArenaNet and project art director for Guild Wars.
Hi, I'm Jason Stokes. I work on environments, and I'm kind of a gap between concept art and the actual environment pipeline. I prototype areas. I work with Daniel closely and kind of try to bring his vision to life in 3D. And I love my job.
I'm Richard Anderson. I work as a concept / cinematics artist, and I think my mic's giving feedback. But yeah.
Okay, Daniel, one of the questions probably a lot of people know, you have a lot of artists, you have a huge art team. What are you looking for when you're building an art team?
Yeah, our team has grown over the last 6 years since I joined ArenaNet, from a handful of people to over 60 artists. And that covers a wide range of skill sets, from modelers, texture artists, animators, cinematic artists, concept artists, obviously. And as far as what we're looking for in candidates who look at joining ArenaNet, it is diversity. First, we are trying to build a team that is diverse in its structure. People from a wide background of skills and ethnic background and cultural backgrounds, and hoping that this diversity will show in the final product. We really not just allow but encourage our artists to contribute ideas and the experience they have and bring it to the table. And of course, in addition to that, really strong skills, traditional art skills, good command over drawing and composition and color, and excellent in-depth knowledge of the tools of the trade, which are whether 3D tools. Maya is our tool of choice for this project, and for texturing and new, more contemporary, so to speak, modeling tools like ZBrush and Mudbox, and as far as 2D tools, Photoshop, Painter, and other pieces of software. But above anything, we're looking for people who are passionate and strive to be the best, in their line of expertise, and don't shy away from, competing with the best, and just better themselves, and want to be part of something big and memorable and set the bar for the industry.
Awesome. So, Jason, as part of this awesome art team, how do you achieve Daniel's epic scale from his concepts and translate that into in-game 3D space?
Yeah, well, usually I'll see one of Daniel's concepts and I get I go into a cold sweat for a little bit, and he comes by and he'll just show me the most amazing piece ever and tell me to build it in 3D, and it's very, at first it's kind of nerve-wracking, but he'll sit there and kind of talk me through his idea, and I'll get a good understanding of what I have to do. And the important thing is I try to get things in the game engine as quick as possible so you can walk around and get a sense of the scale and just see if it's tangible. And from there, I just try to keep a steady pace instead of sitting there wondering what the next step is or second guessing it constantly. I just always try new things and just go back and forth from the game engine, from Maya and so forth, until the end result starts meshing closer with the concept. And Daniel's good about coming around every minute or so and slapping me on the head, so he keeps me in line. But it's fun. It's really rewarding experience, especially to take a piece that I really find inspirational and try to translate it into something you can explore. That's what I enjoy the most about it. You can actually walk around a piece of artwork and look at it from different angles. It's pretty exciting. Richard.
Hi.
Hi, Rich.
Hi.
Let's talk a little bit about your work. What are some of your fundamental processes for your work, since you concept images knowing that people have to build working geometry from them? Like, what are some of your fundamental processes for your work?
Well, usually, like if I come in and then I work with Daniel and then Dociu as well, and it's kind of basically like they'll just give me an explanation or a design, like from the designers, a written description of like, oh, well, we need like we're going into a vest, like a mine shaft or something like that, for instance, and kind of, it's weird. It's like I'm kind of like left alone, where it's like basically it's kind of just trusting to come up with something cool and somewhat unique rather than what you've always seen. Like you have to kind of like push the levels, and so like obviously it's like just looking at a lot of reference material. Like I use Flickr constantly, and like just looking at tons of different design options, and like I play a lot with Photoshop and just testing. Like I don't have an exact process. I just like play until I like see something cool, or I get like feedback from Daniel or Horia or something that says, you know, we should go this direction, or and like basically, yeah, I start that way and just find something cool and like go with you know, trying to just set up color palettes and ideas for what that area could look like.
Any questions from the audience? You've seen some of them.
You guys have been moving in a little bit of a steampunk direction, I've noticed, because it's in the future. I mean, not extreme, but the human culture looks almost more Renaissance. Is that really taken into account on purpose?
Let me try to answer that. You know, we're trying to kind of walk a fine line between, you know, the traditional, conventional fantasy, and trying to, at the same time to push the boundaries a little bit more. We're trying to make the game to keep it accessible to everybody, and we want to make sure that it will continue to appeal to the hardcore conventional fantasy fans who expect certain visuals and a certain sensibility and aesthetics, but at the same time we try to gradually depart a little bit from the cliches of the genre and bring new elements and introduce them gradually, so not to alienate or scare away our fan base, and for them to feel betrayed and to come across as having crossed the line into sci-fi. But yes, there are certain areas where we are pushing a little bit and departing deliberately from what we've done in the past, but hoping to still build upon the same core aesthetic values that we've established with the first game.
So how much then will the technological type areas be diverting from the general fantasy type feel? Because like when you go into the Asura areas now, their technology, you can tell obviously it's technology, but it still has a very fantasy type feel. How much different is it going to be in Guild Wars 2?
This is a question that kind of borders lore and game design, and while lore is something we are happy to address, game design and game mechanics is something we're not prepared to talk about. But I try to stay within the realm of stuff we're prepared to talk about. And as far as the Asura, they are a magical race. They are the sharpest of the races. They are, downright arrogant and fully aware of their wits and mastering of the advantage that mastering magic gives them over the other races. And indeed, we are 250 years later, and their technology has advanced a lot. Their architecture looks different, and part of that is because simply the massive overhaul of the Guild Wars engine allows us now to pull off and get away with much more ambitious vision. So it's part driven by design and by lore, but it's also driven by the technology that has made leaps and bounds, and now allows us to really fulfill our own fantasies of turning this into an epic game space.
Okay, here's a question for all three of you. What is your favorite part to work on so far? Like, is there any particular favorite area you like to work on?
Yeah, for me, it is the cube-like Asuran city. I work with Daniel on that, and occasionally Daniel will come by and he's like, I don't even really feel like drawing this one. I'll just guide you through it in 3D. So he was just describing rotating all these cubes and carving these trenches out, and I'm just thinking, oh God, here we go again. But it's really exciting. At the same time, it pushes me at what I do, so I appreciate it. And the end result, I'm really proud of it, and it was fun to be a part of that city. And I think the players are really going to have fun exploring it and seeing its intricacies.
mine was probably Daniel did a really cool concept of the Norn iceberg ship that you can see like in the video somewhere, and basically he asked me to take. He was like, "Oh, go off of this and like show us what the town or something would look like." And so it was kind of fun. I got to go in and just basically, because sometimes it's nice already having like something to go off of. Like I don't have to just be like, oh, I think of something. So I had something, to go off of course. And then I got to do just like a couple of like in-town illustrations, and then take those and then break those apart into like sketches for like different building props, lampposts, like down to the basic essentials. And then and it was kind of cool to see it, because then right after all of that stuff was done, Jason built the whole entire thing that you see in the video. So I think that was probably one of the funnest things. Because it was like it was basically a giant prop, that's a city. So it's cool.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to allow myself to get too attached to any of the environments or ideas that I've come up with or that we've executed on already. I'm always most excited about what's around the corner and trying to stay sharp and on my toes and come up with ideas that will hopefully top what we've done so far. As sometimes we do things that are really ambitious and epic, and there is some occasionally pressure from design or writers, not pressure, but the suggestion, let's keep this one for later, let's not give it away, we may not be able to top this, and I really don't want to do that. I refuse to believe that we, no matter how big or epic an idea is, that we've reached our maximum potential. So I like to get the ideas out and get them built and move on right away to trying something bigger, better, more ambitious, and stay sharp and creative.
I'd like to change my answer to my just joke.
Daniel, you were talking about being very ambitious with the artwork. Can you each of you talk about one of the most challenging parts of your work?
That's doing a good job, I think. No, I think the most challenging is probably just stepping up. I guess sometimes it's challenging, like when you have to like come up with an idea. Like I find it like there's a lot of creative people I work with. Obviously, like you see, like this kid guy Matt and all these concept artists and writers and stuff. That it seems like they're really creative all the time. And so sometimes it's hard, like when you get assigned something, it's like, hey, we need this, and you want to give it a shot, and it's like, okay. And you don't, like, it can't just be generic or something, because Daniel will get on your case. So it's like you have to, like, make it, like, unique. And I think sometimes it is kind of hard to be, like, have a good idea, like, every day. So.
Yeah, it is true that I push these guys a lot, and they can never afford to get, lazy and, generic, as Rich said. But it's just as true that they are pushing me just as much, if not more. So for me, the most challenging part is basically keeping up with this huge team of very, very talented young guys who are extremely competitive and extremely competent, and they are not cutting me any slack. So they force me to stay on top of my game, and day in and out, and never give me a breather, and that's extremely exciting, and it's the best part of my job. They just don't allow me to get rusty, so I hope to be able to keep up with them for as long as I can.
Yeah, I kind of echo that kind of mentality. I've been at the company a while, so I feel that pressure, as being a senior artist there. There's so many, the talent is amazing, and I feel like the quality, I have to keep increasing it and setting an example in the same way that Rich and Daniel both mentioned. And it is that pressure. It's just always there. It's definitely healthy, but it can get at you from time to time, and you'll just be working on something, and I haven't completely snapped yet, but it's always there, and it's going to make the game better. But you have to keep your cool.
Any questions from the audience?
Do we get to see Ascalon again? Do we get to see Ascalon again?
Well, Regina, is that a safe question?
I don't think we're talking about
We're not talking about that right now, I think.
Actually, you have to leave.
One of the questions I've seen a lot on the forums is how long does it take to create a piece of concept art?
It depends a great deal. For me, I used to be able to produce a piece a day, sometimes 2 pieces a day on a really good day, but that was back when we had a handful of people on the team, and there wasn't, and the scope of the project wasn't anywhere as big as it is now. Nowadays, with all the project management side of the work and meetings and collaborations with design and running around and overseeing the implementation of the vision, I rarely have more than 20 minutes at a time to sit down and actually do hands-on work. So it takes me at times, 4 or 5 days to finish a piece that I should be able to do in a day easily.
Yeah, for me, I think it's sometimes it's hard to say. Like if I have like already something to go off of, or the ideas already been kind of given to me, then it's basically like sometimes you just have it and you can just in one day you just bang it out. But then I've also had times when I'm like, all right, I've been on this thing for 5 days and it's totally like, I'm like, all right, this is complete garbage, and I'll erase it, and then I'll just stay after work for a couple hours, and just all of a sudden I've got something good and new. Like in a couple hours, it's weird. You can spin your wheels, and I think you just kind of have to know like when to stop and read, or just start over, or like do something like that. But it's like, I'm sure everybody has days like which sometimes you're on it, sometimes you're not. So but usually a few days is probably like a give for like illustrations.
Okay, another question that I've seen around is, are there any major differences between how you approached art in Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars versus Guild Wars 2? And can you talk about any of those differences?
Well, for the environments, working on environments now, it's so much more freedom. You can jump, you can swim, you can just travel all around these areas that we create. So it's a lot more just engaging, and I play a ton of games myself, so I find myself just running around the levels I work on or props I make, and making sure it's just a fun thing to explore first and foremost. So that's the first Guild Wars was a lot more limited in where you could go, and we wouldn't want to tease players too much by acting like you could get a certain place, but now we can really push that exploration, and on the art side, that's one of the major changes, along with the graphical enhancements that we have.
One major difference is that this time around, the engine is a true 3D engine. The first time around, we used to call it a 2.5D, meaning that the game would recognize coordinates in the horizontal plane, but you were not able, for instance, to have multi-leveled buildings or platforms, or to spawn characters or creatures at multiple levels above each other. This time around, we can do that, and we also have as Jason said, the ability to jump and swim. Swimming is basically moving freely in 3D space. So the whole approach to designing space has changed. We need to take advantage of the ability to move in the vertical axis and build that verticality and those opportunities into our environment. So that kind of changes the mindset altogether.
From the first game, I think the only difference I really see right now is that we're definitely pushing for a more painter, connected to the art feel for the entire game. So I think a lot of direction we're given and stuff is, for instance, we're working on the cinematics as well, and everything, and including I'm not sure if I can talk about this, but there's a lot of little things in the game that you'll see that are we're trying to make it almost like a link between the concept art and the 3D stuff. So it's we're putting in a lot of pan release things, and it's kind of I'm given a lot of projects that are just creating a lot of interesting textures and pan release stuff that we can put I don't know what I can talk about, what I can't.
Let me help you out. I think there is a deliberate decision to take full advantage of our talent base and the fact that we've generated an immense body of concept art over time. And our old engine didn't allow us to the same degree to realize at its full potential the qualities of our vision, and this time around our tools are head and shoulders above what we had the first time around. So we really want to bring all that concept art to the forefront and showcase it and implement it and translate it into in-game assets as truly as closely as possible. And we do have the tools to accomplish that this time around. So that it's a pretty fundamental goal that we put ahead of ourselves.
Do we have any questions from the audience at all? We're almost out of time, so I'm going to ask one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. You talked about building an art team and working on an art team that challenges you and pushes you. Could you talk about one of the most rewarding aspects of your job?
Throughout the game process, there's tons of highs and lows, but recently with the trailer being released and seeing the fan reaction, that was a definite highlight. We've been dark for a long time with Guild Wars, and it was just so cool to see that anticipation and the fans just coming back to Guild Wars and with open arms, and it was amazing to see the reaction. And just working on the video and the environments and putting it together was so much fun. So that was a recent one for me.
Yeah, I agree with Stokes on that. I would say like when I started at ArenaNet really early on, and the Guild Wars, the first one was in a very low stage. I think there's like 2 maps or something, and it was really interesting to be like, and it was like my first game too. So I think overall like it was fun to work on. I was excited, but it's cool to actually see a game grow, and then once you start getting into it, and then once you actually put it out there and you see people actually really enjoy it, I'd say, it's like anything, like you enjoy, like people like your work, obviously. So it's like, I think that's probably the most rewarding thing.
I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of for a sort of a closing statement as well. You guys can't understand how important your support is for us, and what degree of satisfaction it gives us to see your interest in this game very much alive, and your interest in the art of the game being so high. So moments like today, when we had an endless line wrap around the block here, and people waiting for an hour plus to get their hands on the art book. These moments are extremely emotional and rewarding for us, and it's something we'll never forget, and something that we'll remember and will help us get through the times when we're tired and putting long hours and occasional all-nighters and struggling with different aspects of the development process. But knowing that you guys are out there waiting anxiously for this game to get out, and have really high expectations that we absolutely don't want to betray and disappoint on. That's what helps us get through it. And I want to take this opportunity and thank you guys all for your support, and be patient with us, and we can promise that the game will meet your expectations, and we will not disappoint.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel, Jason, Rich. Why don't we give these guys a round of applause? Right after this, we actually have an art book signing with Jason Wiggin, Jason Stokes, and Rich Anderson. So stick around for that if you want to get your art book signed. And we're also having more signings throughout the weekend, so check the schedule on the board for that. Thanks, everyone.